I mean, the kids feel it every day. And you look, I mean, the lighting is better, it's clean, the floors are all redone, the lockers are redone.
Because, I mean, I don't know when you first saw DC schools and if you came and walked around while you were deciding whether to take the job, because I know at first you didn't want to take it. But it is alarming. And
Oh, absolutely.
Is it possible ever again to have schools in DC that don't have bars on the windows and that have front doors that look like real front doors rather than prison doors?
Absolutely, and that is what Alan and his team have committed to doing in this new master facility plan over the next 5 years. And right now it's coming under a lot of scrutiny, and people are saying, well, there's, we don't like this about it, we don't like that. You can't fault a plan, in my opinion, that in 5 years is going to bring all schools up to the standard that Brown and Francis are at now, which they did over a few month period. I mean, again, go to
Are
those
those your
schools
high water? Are those the schools that you cite as the benchmark?
You know what? Those are the schools that I think show what you can accomplish in a pretty short amount of time without the full, $50 million investment that people thought was going to be needed. They, for a fraction of the money, gone in a short amount of time and completely renovated the school to the extent that people are saying this is unlike anything that we've ever seen before, and they're thrilled. So if you talk to the teachers, if you talk to the parents in those schools, they feel like they're in a brand new school building.
Are the charter schools a threat to you?
No. No, I think...
What do they mean to you and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, this is a good question, and one that I get asked all the time. I am a huge proponent of effective charter schools. I'm a huge proponent of any effective school. I think this whole dynamic that people try to create, that, well, the charters are a threat to the school district and that sort of thing, I look at things a little differently.
Well, don't the best students sometimes end up going to them, if not most times?
I think a lot of our students, almost 30,000 students in this city out of the 100,000 school-age kids that we have go to charter schools now, and that's probably for very good reason, because DCPS has not provided high-quality, compelling options to parents, and so the parents who are very savvy and who want better choices for their kids have gone out and used the Opportunity Scholarship Program, or who've chosen to go to charter schools, and I think that's great. I don't think we want to do anything that's going to limit the choices and options for parents. What I think my job is to create incredibly compelling choices within DCPS as well. And I think we're starting to do that. So we're starting gifted and talented programs, arts magnet programs, STEM campuses, high-tech campuses, all of the things that, as a parent, I know are the kinds of environments that I would want my kid in.
Do the DC schools need more sports, more athletics?
I think we need more extracurricular activities for kids overall. I mean,
do they need longer hours?
We are instituting longer hours, not mandatory ones, but we have now before and after school
Why
programs
not mandatory?
in all of our. I think to go through the process to lengthen the school year and lengthen the school day is an incredibly political
Can't have
one.
too much revolution at one time.
But what we are doing is we put after-school programs in every single one of our schools, for example. And the first hour of that after-school program we have defined as the academic power hour. And so we are actually, in essence, we are extending the school day by another hour. Kids just don't actually know that we've done that yet.
But for some kids, it may be better than any place else they might be.
It's absolutely necessary. I mean, when we're talking about the situation that we have where our children are so behind academically, one of the resources that we have to utilize is time. And our kids we need more time to be able to make up all the ground.
Do you need a
that our
longer
kids have
school
lost.
year?
We're doing that too. We have now Saturday schools in place.
But that's optional?
It is optional, but we are very highly recommending it for most of our kids, and we have very high attendance rates. And we're completely overhauling our summer school program. We started this past year, and in one summer we doubled the number of summer school graduates that we have.
Isn't that where public school is going in America, though, to a longer school day and a longer school year?
Well, it ought to. I mean, when you think about it, everybody knows this. The 3-month summer vacation was based on the sort of agrarian calendar where the kids had to go out in the field and work. And
it's not realistic.
And guess what? Our kids don't have to, pick fruit anymore. So we should have our kids in school.
Could you envision a time when school was a year-long option, whether and how you dipped into it was how you needed to?
You're going to get me in trouble with my daughter right now, who's always saying,
At least
"Don't
not the union."
lengthen the school." You know?
Which is worse, your daughter or the
Yeah,
union?
my daughter, who's like, "There's rumors going around that you're
Yeah,
trying to lengthen the
exactly.
school year, and don't do it."
Is there much homeschooling in DC?
There is some homeschooling that goes on, and again, I think it's parents and guardians who feel that they don't have great options within the public schools.
In the little bit of time we have left, does American education stand to lose or gain out of the presidential election?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that the hardest thing for me in all of this and watching this is that education just is not one of the main issues that people are talking about in the election, which I think is.
I was trying to find stuff about it online, and you'd be able to.
It's so sad
I
because
won't say which candidate sometimes just has a blank spot in the.
it's incredibly sad because when you think about the health and well-being of this country long term, everything is going to be dependent on education and whether we can improve the public schooling system in this country or not.
And bring it into a new century.
We're falling further and further behind. Compared to developed nations and some of the developing nations. I mean, I was at the Clinton Global Initiative conference last week, and I was on this panel with a woman from India and a woman from Malawi,
I know.
and they were talking about all of the issues that they had, and I was like,
yours were worse.
It's not different, from what we have in Washington.
No, they
DC
actually, yours were. I read the story about that. Yours were actually worse.
Yeah, well, their issues were all about access to school and books and school buildings, and I said, be careful what you wish for. I said, and always know what the end game is. I said, because all of our children have access to schools. They all come to school. We don't have an issue with that. I've gotten the kids the books and the materials that they need. They're all in school buildings. I said, but still, so few of them are actually on grade level. They're not learning. So even once you get those things, that you haven't necessarily solved the problem of public education in your country. I think that for the presidential candidates not to be putting education as the first priority that they have is a significant
Would you want to
problem.
see No Child Left Behind revamped in a new administration?
I would like No Child Left Behind to stay right where it is. I think that there are some tweaks that are necessary,
But not
for
a-
sure,
not
but
a
not
major-
not an overhaul. In fact, I think
kill
that
it.
an overhaul, the way that some of the Democrats have been leading the charge around, would be extraordinarily detrimental to the reform efforts in a lot of urban districts.
I think I know the answer to this, but if a progressive, change-minded president came to you and said, "Well, I want you to run the education department in my new administration," would you? No? But, well, I mean, what could you say? But, because, Mayor Fenty might see this. But long term, let's say you do achieve your goals, what do you see for yourself? Do you see perhaps a role in a federal capacity in education, or do you see running for office?
Oh gosh, no, never run for office. I'm not a politician. I'm such a bad.
You can't do
I'm
your job and not do politics.
No. The mayor really does.
The
Run,
politics.
he runs interference for me
Yes,
on all.
I'm
and
sure
he
you have
tells
no
me,
political skills.
I mean, he
but,
says to me all the time, he's like, "You let me take care of the politics, and you go run the schools," which is exactly the way I want it. I'd be a terrible politician because I speak my mind too much, I think. And I actually think that what we're doing here in D.C. Is going to have national ramifications, and I think it's going to have the most significant, more significant than I could have if I was doing national work, because no one has ever done what we're attempting to do here, which is take the lowest performing, most dysfunctional school district in the country and completely transform it.
Which graduating class will be the graduating class you take credit for?
That's a good question. You know what? What my staff and I said was that the kindergartners who came in last year, who came in when I came
That's
in,
your class.
they were like, "You should adopt that class," and that's actually my youngest daughter is in that class. I think that by the time those kids are in third grade,
we can grade you then.
Absolutely, because third grade is the mark.
Right?
The research shows that if you're not on grade level by the time you're in third grade, the chances that you'll ever be on grade level are slim to none.